In the opulent halls of the Lancaster Hotel, where chandeliers glisten like captured stars, Maya works silently in the background, invisible to those who matter, yet vital to the beauty they take for granted. A single cruel command from Clara, the bride-to-be, humiliates Maya before a room full of guests and brands her soul with the sting of injustice. Yet beneath the weight of that shame, something powerful stirs inside her, the first spark of a fire that will not die. As laughter echoes through marble corridors, destiny quietly begins to turn its wheel. The Lancaster Hotel looked like a palace carved out of moonlight and gold. Crystal chandeliers cascaded from a domed ceiling, their glow painting the ballroom in soft amber tones. Silk-draped tables awaited the elite, their crystal glasses polished until they vanished in the light. To the wealthy guests gathering for Clara Montgomery's wedding, the social event of the year, it was a scene of effortless beauty. To Maya Johnson, it was another battlefield. Balancing a tray of champagne flutes, she weaved through the maze of designer gowns and tailored suits. Her black uniform was neat but plain, a sharp contrast to the dazzling luxury around her. Every movement was careful. A spill could cost her the job she desperately needed. Her mother's hospital bills waited at home like hungry wolves. "Watch it," a guest snapped as she passed, though she hadn't touched him. Maya bowed her head in silent apology. It was always easier that way. At the far end of the room, Clara Montgomery stood surrounded by admirers. Blonde curls framed her porcelain face, and diamonds sparkled at her throat. She was the picture of privilege, beautiful, adored, and utterly merciless. Clara's sharp eyes caught Maya approaching with a tray. A faint, displeased curl appeared on her lips. "You!" she called, crooking a manicured finger. "Come here." Maya obeyed, lowering the tray between them. Clara pointed at her silver stilettos, where a faint dot of red wine marred the toe. "Do you see that? Clean it." For a heartbeat, Maya thought she'd misheard. "Ma'am? I said to clean it." Clara's voice was louder now, enough to draw attention. "On your knees. That's what you're paid for, isn't it?" Laughter rippled through the circle. Maya's cheeks burned. Every instinct screamed to walk away. But the image of her mother, frail and smiling in a hospital bed, anchored her. Slowly, she knelt. The marble was cold against her knees. She dabbed the stain with her napkin, each motion slicing deeper into her pride. Around her, whispers floated like poison. People like her should be grateful for work. Look how obedient she is. When the stain vanished, Clara pulled her foot back with a smirk. "Good girl." Maya stood on trembling legs, her hands cold, her throat tight. But behind her lowered lashes a spark flared, quiet, defiant, unyielding. This humiliation would not be the end of her story. It would be the beginning. Across the room, the orchestra swelled and laughter rose again, drowning out the sound of a destiny shifting beneath the surface, one that neither Clara nor Maya could yet see. And somewhere, beyond the glittering walls of Lancaster, fate was taking its first step toward revenge. The night stretched endlessly after the shoe incident. The ballroom roared with laughter and clinking glasses, but Maya felt only the hollow thud of her heart. She moved from table to table in silence, her smile thin and practiced. Every time she passed Clara's group, their voices rose just loud enough for her to hear. "Doesn't she look exhausted?" "Probably from running from the law," one bridesmaid sneered. "Or from scrubbing floors her whole life," Clara replied, twirling her champagne flute. "Some people are just born to serve." The laughter stabbed deeper than any insult could. Maya bit the inside of her cheek until she tasted blood. She'd learned long ago that reacting only fed their cruelty, but tonight, the weight of their words crushed the fragile shield she'd built around herself. "Why am I still here?" she thought. "Why am I letting them do this to me?" During her break, Maya slipped into the service corridor, a narrow, fluorescent-lit hallway that smelled faintly of bleach and old flowers. She pressed her back against the wall and slid down until her knees touched her chest. Silent tears carved hot trails down her cheeks. Her father's voice drifted from memory, soft but firm. "They can try to strip you of everything, Maya. Your job, your pride, your peace. But dignity? That's yours. Only you decide if they get it." She whispered the words aloud, over and over, until the shaking in her hands stilled. "Maya?" A voice interrupted gently. She startled, wiping her eyes. Standing a few feet away was Ethan Montgomery, the groom. He looked nothing like the polished magazine covers she'd seen. Up close he seemed lost. "I'm sorry," he said quietly, "for what happened out there. It was wrong." Maya lowered her gaze. "It's not the first time, and it won't be the last." Still, Ethan stepped closer, hesitant but sincere. No one should treat another human being that way. Their eyes met, and for a moment the noise of the world fell away. Ethan asked about her family, her dreams, and listened, truly listened, as she spoke about her mother, about nights spent studying under dim lights, about hope that refused to die. Something shifted in him as he listened, a dissonance he couldn't name. Clara's laughter, her cruelty, echoed in his mind, suddenly unbearable. And as he watched Maya walk back into the ballroom with quiet strength in her spine, one question refused to leave his chest. Am I marrying the woman I love, or the woman I'm expected to love? The thought haunted him long after she was gone, and by morning, it would demand an answer. The morning sun spilled over Lancaster Hotel like honey, gilding the white roses that lined the grand staircase. Staff hurried through the halls, polishing crystal and straightening velvet chairs. The air buzzed with champagne and expectation. The wedding of Ethan Montgomery and Clara Davenport would be the event of the season. But inside the groom's suite, perfection felt like a noose. Ethan stood before a mirror in a tailored navy suit, staring at the stranger looking back. You should be happy, he told himself. He was about to marry into power and prestige, yet every time he closed his eyes, he saw Maya. The quiet fire in her eyes, the way she spoke about hope even when the world tried to crush it. A knock shattered his thoughts. Clara swept into the room, draped in silk and entitlement. You're not dressed, she scolded lightly. The guests are arriving. Clara, he began carefully. Do you ever wonder if we're doing this for the right reasons? Her painted smile faltered. What are you talking about? I mean, do we love each other? Or are we just playing the parts expected of us? She laughed, sharp and cold. Love? Ethan, this marriage isn't about feelings. It's about legacy, power, and you know that. His stomach twisted. And what about how you treat people? Like Maya, her eyes hardened. That girl? She's a servant. People like her stay where they belong. If you're so concerned, maybe you should marry her instead. The silence after her words was deafening. Something inside Ethan broke. A chain he hadn't realized was wrapped around his heart. Maybe I should, he whispered. Clara's face turned white. You don't mean that. But he did. For the first time, he truly did. Minutes later, chaos rippled through the corridors. The groom was gone. Downstairs, unaware of the storm, Maya was mopping the marble floor for the last time. Her bag was already packed in the staff room. Today, she told herself she would leave and never come back. Dreams like hers didn't belong here. Miss Johnson! The voice stopped her cold. It was firm, breathless, familiar. She turned toward the grand staircase and froze. Ethan stood there, no longer a groom prepared for a society wedding, but a man stripped bare of pretenses. His eyes found hers, steady and unwavering, as he extended his hand. Come with me, he said, loud enough for every whispering guest to hear. The mop slipped from her fingers and clattered against the floor. And for the first time, Maya wondered if the life she'd been told she could never have was reaching for her instead. For a heartbeat, the entire ballroom stood frozen, a painting of disbelief. Forks hung midair, champagne glasses trembled, and at the center of it all, Ethan Montgomery stood at the foot of the grand staircase, his hand outstretched toward the woman everyone had been trained to ignore. Maya, he said again, his voice steady and sure. Come with me, whispers crashed into shouts. Clara's mother gasped, clutching her pearls. This is madness, someone barked. She's a servant, hissed another. Maya's pulse thundered. Every eye in the room bore into her skin like daggers. This isn't for me, she thought. This isn't my world. Her knees threatened to give way beneath the weight of a lifetime of being told she wasn't enough. Ethan. Clara's voice sliced through the chaos. She stormed forward, veil trembling with rage. Stop this ridiculous scene and come back here. This girl doesn't belong beside you. Ethan turned to her slowly, his eyes colder than she'd ever seen. You're right, he said softly. She doesn't belong beside me. She deserves to stand with me. The room erupted again, but Ethan didn't flinch. He took the steps toward Maya, one deliberate stride after another. All my life, he said, voice carrying over the noise. I've lived by rules written by people like you. Rules about wealth, status, bloodlines, and for the first time, I'm choosing me. When he reached her, he didn't kneel or plead. He simply offered his hand again, not as a rescuer, but as an equal. You showed me what strength looks like, Maya. Not in power or privilege, but in grace. Even when the world tried to break you. And if you'll have me, I want to walk through this life with you. Tears stung Maya's eyes. I'm just a waitress, she whispered. No, Ethan said, his voice trembling now. You are the bravest person I've ever known, and to me, that makes you a queen. The hall that once laughed at her humiliation now watched in stunned silence, as Maya placed her trembling hand into his. Gasps turned to murmurs, murmurs to awe, and slowly, defiantly, they walked toward the altar together, not as master and servant, but as two souls rewriting the story they'd been handed. Years later, Maya stood in front of a crowd again, not in a ballroom, but at a community center she and Ethan built for women like her. Once, she told them, smiling softly, I was made to kneel here. Today, I stand so others never have to. And the stain that had marked her shame now lived only as a reminder, not of who she had been, but of how far she had risen.